In a previous audio, I touched on people who kind of take advantage of other people, particularly relatives. So I'm going to focus on that in regards to running game. This is another part of the running game series that I just decided that I'm going to start. There's a case of someone in your family, I'm sure, that they've either been out of circulation for a while due to being institutionalized, or they've had that street life where they haven't had a stable source of income. They've never worked an actual, legal job. They've never actually had a lease in their name. They probably couch surfed or went in with somebody or did some kind of scam or something where somebody is, subletting to them when they're not supposed to. Just something like that. And now they're in a position where they're older and they may have some health problems and they, need to stay with somebody. And what they have to do now is, because they have very limited income and they probably have bad credit, they don't have any money saved up. And what they're doing is they're couch surfing for survival. I'm not saying anything is wrong with that, but, it's unfortunate, but those are the consequences for you not being, self-sufficient. Those are the consequences. I touched earlier on the fact that there are some people that have a quick money mentality. This is a classic case of someone who was spent their life getting quick money, and that quick money disappeared. Disappeared just as quickly as they got it, and it's unfortunate. So this person might be a little bit older. Like I said, has health issues, limited income. But see, the thing is, their attitude is still back in the day. They still want to do things on their terms. They're not willing to compromise. They're not willing to cooperate. They're used to being large and in charge. Big baller mentality. There's a good way to be a big baller and there's a bad way to be a big baller. And the bad way usually involves someone who does not want to compromise, who does not want to listen, wants everything to be their way. And see, you can't have that type of attitude if you're living under somebody else's roof. Let me say that again, because even though this is common sense, I need to go ahead and say it again. You cannot come into somebody else's house having a big baller attitude. You can't. When you go into somebody else's house, you got to live by their rules. And if you feel you cannot live by their rules, then you need to start making an exit plan, quick, fast, in a hurry. Do it and don't come back. And so in the case of this particular person, even though they have all these issues going on, number one, they haven't come to terms with the fact that they do have these issues. And number two, they still have those old ways. They have not checked their attitude. They have not mentally adjusted to the fact that they can't live that lifestyle anymore. A part of them is still living in the past. A part of them is still looking back when they was on the street corner at the age of 20 years old. And they're 60 years old and got a myriad of diseases. Not just one or two, a myriad of diseases. A plethora of illnesses that require them not to live alone. But they can't afford assisted living because they didn't have any money saved up. First of all, let me interject with this. If you're a street hustler, if you're really balling, whether you do time or not, and come out or not, if you're really a big baller, you would have some money stashed away somewhere, regardless of what happened, because you would think about the fact that, okay, you know what, this is a rough life. Just in case something happens to me, you should have that go-to person that's holding on to that money. You should have some cash stashed away somewhere, some real estate, something. You should have something. You shouldn't have to come out, even if you do get locked up and you come out, you shouldn't have to come out with nothing. That tells me right there you wasn't that big of a baller in the first place. You weren't. Because the true big ballers, when they come out, they're straight. And I'm not saying this to promote crime. I'm just simply telling the truth. This is a channel where we talk about the truth. So anyway, back to this person who is displaced, because that's what they are, displaced. They don't know what to do with themselves. So what they'll do, they'll go live with the child. But the problem is the child hardly knows who this person is. They hardly know who this person is because that person didn't play an active role of parenting in their life. But they're trying to honor them because they're like, okay, this is my father, this is my mother, this is what I got to deal with in their own hard times. And they, out of the kindness of their heart and their duty as a child, they try to go ahead and live with them. But they probably have a family and a life of their own. And what happens is this person, this cantankerous, difficult person, moves in under their roof and they just turn their whole life upside down. Then all of a sudden they're arguing and they're fussing and they're fighting every single day. And it's like, and it's a hurtful thing, and that person has to wind up leaving. And they wind up going somewhere else. Then when they get there, all of a sudden there's an issue there. They don't get along with the people there because of their attitude. Then they turn around after about 6 months or a year. They wind up having to go somewhere else. This time they probably pick up a girlfriend or a boyfriend somewhere and sweet talk their way into their digs. I'm brushing my hair if you hear any noise, trying to get ready here. And then they stay with them for a while until that person realizes, even though the sex might be good, and bills are getting too high. And they realize this person is more of a liability and they're doing worse with them than they did before they even met them. So it's time to go. Then they wind up backtracking after they burned all their bridges. They go back to the children. They find another child and they lay up with them and turn their world upside down. Then it keeps on going and going and going and going until they die. That's not a way to live, people. One of my purposes of this channel is to help you think about how you interact with people, to effectively communicate, and also think about your future. There are not enough people that are out here trying to tell people to think about their future. Not just the money. I know a lot of people who have a ton of money, but they don't have anybody who cares for them. A lot of people, there's somebody's going to die today that's got a ton of money, and nobody will know they're dead for about 3 or 4 weeks because they don't have any relationship with anybody. So it's not about the money. But the thing is, these are the type of people you got to look out for. And I'm sure some of us have at least 1 or 2 of those in the family. So when they get on the phone and they start talking to you, it's like this month everything's great and wonderful where they're at their new digs, and then a couple of months later all of a sudden there's a problem. Hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm all right, but so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. See, what they're doing is they're setting up the playing field. They're setting up the scenario in your mind as the listener that, oh, they're having a hard time, let me help them. It's manipulation. They're like, let me call so-and-so. And so you don't have sense enough to remember that a few months ago they were doing fine, and then 6 months before that they were living somewhere else, and 6 months to a year before that they were living somewhere else. They're playing on your sympathy. Their purpose of calling you is not to see how you're doing. Their purpose of calling you is to try to set you up so that way they can go in for the kill later on for another place to stay. Running game, people, running game. And especially if you're a relative or something they're not familiar with, they'll play on that. Especially if you consider yourself a spiritual person, they'll really play on that. This is where I say you got to reach into that old bag of tricks. You got to keep that common sense. You got to keep it. They'll come in on you and they'll go through all the rigmarole. They might even follow all the rules for a little while. And then all of a sudden you look and you see the bills are coming in and they're not getting paid, or you got all kind of random people in and out your house, stuff coming up missing, all these extra trips to the hospital that you got to make on your own time because this person is sickly. I mean, it's just all these different things that you weren't aware of before they moved in with you. And of course they didn't come in with an exit plan at all. And you better not have a nice place to stay. They're not going anywhere. And all of this because of poor planning. So that's just another type of game that they run. So you got to be careful of these people. I don't care if they are your family members. I look at it like this. There's nothing wrong with helping family members. But don't do it to the place where, oh, I'm in a position to do it, so I'm going to do it. Don't be just flinging your money around just because you can. Don't do it. That's your money. You earned it. You should investigate every time somebody asks you for something. You should investigate. You should ask questions. It doesn't matter how much money you have. You got 7 or 8 figures. That's yours. That's your blessing that was given to you. And then you look up later on and see that you wanted to do something with some of that money. And you think back at the time how you helped this person that wasn't trying to help themselves. Then all of a sudden you got an attitude against them. Don't blame them. Blame yourself. Because you didn't do your homework. Very recently, I had a friend of mine tell me about a cousin that she grew up with, and she knew this cousin wasn't trying to keep nothing, never kept a job when she was younger, always lived off of men, lived off of men. But then now it's to the point where she's, older and infirm, and, the offers aren't coming in like they used to come in. So now she's couch surfing between relatives and kids and everything else, but she's too difficult, way too difficult. And when it's time to tally up and contribute her part, she doesn't want to give up any of her pension money or her Social Security. She's like, I shouldn't have to because I'm so-and-so. Trying to pull familiar rank. First of all, if you're living with a family member, do it for a temporary period of time. The least you can do is try to contribute if you claim you love them so much. I don't understand these people that turn around and say, oh, well, I'm going to be with family. So, family look out for family. Okay, well, you looking for somebody to look out for you. Who are you looking out for? I'm telling you, people, look out for these folks. Look out for these folks. Do your investigation. Because my friend went ahead and she dodged a bullet. Because last year she called and asked me, should I let him stay with me? Should I let him stay with me? Come to find out a year later, he done lived 2 other places and got kicked out. And see, that would have been her. And each one of those people are holding unpaid bills. Because he done ran up all the electric, ran up all the cable and everything because he didn't have a job, wasn't going nowhere, and he was in the house all day long. And they still have high bills that they're trying to pay off right now. So you guys need to kind of pay close attention, close attention to people. It doesn't matter if they're family members or not. I look at it like this. Your family member really, truly loves you, they wouldn't come in the door empty-handed anyway. But if they do come in the door empty-handed, they would have a plan of action. Like I said, 3 to 6 months on the way out. Got to be on the way out within 3 to 6 months, period. And that's with them coming in the door with nothing. Because you have temp agencies where you can get jobs. You have people who pay cash under the table. As far as places to stay, if you live in a medium to large area, they got extended stays. They can go there. I've done my bid in extended stays quite a few times because I didn't want to be a burden under somebody else, and I didn't want to have to live under somebody else's rules, knowing that I've been out on my own as long as I had. So there's no excuse why you can't get any work, no excuse why you can't get any income. And if it's a situation where you are on disability or something like that, I know the law. You can work part-time up to a certain amount of hours before you start losing your benefits. You can. Unless you have some kind of health condition where you're not allowed at all, okay, fine, start a business. Start a business. And then turn around and have the nerve to move in on somebody else and you don't want to give up any of your check, you should be ashamed of yourself. That's not love. You're using people. So if you come across somebody like that, you better check their history. I already did an audio about investigating. Make sure you investigate. Y'all laughing, but it's the truth. It'll save you some heartache in the long run. Investigate. Come to find out, because she called me the other day and she said, I don't know how to thank you, because she said, if I had let him move in with me, I would have been a mess, because she said he done lived with 2 other people since we talked last June. What? And she said, and each one of those people still trying to pay off the high bills he ran up in the house. And then when they asked him for a little bit of money at the beginning of the month, he acted like he didn't want to give it up. What? And this was a relative. very close relative. So no, I don't have any problem. I live by myself and I'm happy living by myself, so I'm not going to let anybody inside my door at that level anyway because I technically don't have the space. But the thing is, there are options for you. You don't have to move in with a relative if you don't want to. If you got a steady source of income coming in on a regular basis and you've been growing and been living on your own, you mean to tell me you're going to turn around, have a steady source of income, whether it's retirement or unemployment or anything like that, and you're going to turn around and move in with a relative and don't contribute anything and don't have an exit plan? You do not care about that person. That's all I'm saying. Now, if that ruffles some feathers, that's too doggone bad, but them bills come in every single month on the same day of the month. And if another person's living in the house, they're using more of what's being used. That's more electricity, more water, more gas, more. So you should contribute something. And you should have an exit plan. Unless it's agreed upon that you're going to stay there permanently due to whatever conditions, that agreement has to be made in the beginning. No switching up. And then turn around and bring in random people into that person's house, and that's not even your house? No. That's disrespectful. So people, I'm just saying, guard your blessings, protect your energy, and keep it at that. Okay? Just saying.